Hi, this is Patty, Evolutionary Astrologer. You can find me at pattypost.nl/en. And this is the astrology of April 2019. And first, a check-in question. How are you? And I'm asking you this question because the past Mercury retrograde period has been quite intense for many of you, including myself. I actually cannot remember of a Mercury retrograde period that was this impactful. Mercury was in the dreamy sign of Pisces, and Neptune in Pisces was dancing around Mercury all month. And this is actually still going on in the beginning of April. And this intensified the energy of Pisces, which can show up as having an amazing insight, vision, deep connectedness to all that is, feeling your true spirituality. But on the other end of the spectrum, we have total confusion, not knowing, chaotic thinking. And in my own life, I experience actually both sides of that spectrum. And maybe you already felt the shift in the energy when Mercury started to go direct on the 28th of March. And that was a big relief for many people. But please take into account that the pieces of the puzzle of the retrograde period are still falling into place in the first half of April. Until the 17th of April, we are still in Mercury's so-called shadow period. This means that Mercury is making its way back to 29 degrees of Pisces, and this was the degree where the Mercury retrograde period started. On the 17th of April, Mercury will finally go into the fiery sign of Aries, and we are out of this period that was interesting, to say the least. Then on the 5th, we have the new moon of this month, which takes place at 10:50 a.m. Central European Time and 1:50 a.m. Pacific Time. And it takes place at 15 degrees of Aries. New moons are always new beginnings. But this new moon in Aries makes this new begin even stronger, as Aries is the first sign of the zodiac and represents a fiery forwards energy. Aries is about having the attitude of the warrior. Do you have the courage to be fully yourself? Aries is the claiming power of I am. And this new moon makes a loose connection with Saturn and Pluto, which are quite close to each other all month. And also Pluto is conjunct the south node of the moon in Capricorn. Now, Aries is about going faster, and Capricorn Saturn is about slowing down. And so you may feel this tug of war energy quite strongly during this new moon. But as always, it's about integration and making conscious choices to use the energies constructively. And Capricorn Saturn is also about the attitude of self-respect, discipline, doing things that are hard to do. And together with the energy of the new moon, it can be about claiming your personal power and leadership. Don't give away your power to other people, to external things, to circumstances. Use the energy of this new moon to set your boundaries and allow yourself this very powerful new beginning. What always helps me is doing a new moon ritual, writing my intentions. How do I want my life to be? And I actually created a new moon ritual. I've made a nice document of this, and I will put a link of this free document below this video. So you can download that for free. Doing a new moon ritual in the 6 hours after the exact new moon, it's the most powerful time to perform this ritual. Then on the 10th of the month, Jupiter goes retrograde. Now, Jupiter is a slow-moving planet, so its retrograde period takes quite a while, until the 11th of August. And Jupiter is the energy of expansion. Jupiter makes everything that it touches bigger. Now, in Sagittarius, this might have been a little too much. Over the top energy can be quite exhausting, actually. And what I have noticed is that people born under Sagittarius and know of astrology, including myself, have looked so forward to Jupiter moving into Sagittarius. This is our once in a 12-year hip hip hooray year. However, what I've noticed is that with all the power energy of 2019, this episode of Jupiter in Sagittarius feels actually a lot more intense than I anticipated. And I see that a lot in my clients and followers as well. So the expansion of Jupiter was more an expansion of our shadow sides as well. Both expansion in a good way, but also expansion of our shadow sides. And it feels more than welcome to have Jupiter go retrograde in the coming months, as this will be about integration, integrating everything that you have learned in the past few months. It's almost like catching our breaths. And by the way, this goes for everybody, not only people that are born under Sagittarius sun. Then on the 13th of the month, quite an intense aspect between the Sun and Pluto, which also involves Saturn, which again highlights that theme that we have all 2019. It's the build-up towards the big conjunction of Saturn and Pluto beginning of 2020. And we are getting taste of this energy throughout 2019. And since the end of March, Pluto is conjunct the South Node. And the South Node is like our collective karma. It's we as a collective need to move away from this harsh, controlling energy towards the North Node in Cancer, which is opposite Capricorn. And this represents more softness, gentleness, self-care. And God, don't we need this in our lives? And in your personal lives, the 13th and the days around the 13th can be quite tense. But on the world stage, this can also become very, very visible. Well, here in Europe, we have, of course, the whole Brexit ordeal. And I think on the 11th of April, the UK is finally to move away from the EU. Let's see what happens there. And this is about restructuring of power, control systems. And also we have, of course, now Uranus solid into Taurus, and which will also let us see breakthroughs in areas of the earth, our monetary system, food, technology. I'm personally quite fascinated by AI, artificial intelligence. There's quite a lot going on in this area, which is both fascinating, like I said, but also a bit scary at the same time. And we will see a lot of this in the coming 7 years. Then on the 19th of the month, we have the full moon of this month. And this is the second full moon in Libra. It takes place at 13:12 Central European time and 4:12 a.m. Pacific time. Now, last month, we had a full moon in Libra right at the beginning of Libra, and now we have the second installment at 29 degrees of Libra, which is the so-called critical degree, the last degree of a sign, which usually highlights the shadow sides a bit more. So again, we have this highlight of the I versus we axis, and Libra is the sign of balance. And to keep this balance, you see a tendency in people that have a lot of Libra energy to overcompromise, to move too much towards the other person, because in doing that, they avoid the confrontation. Thus, their inner balance will not be disturbed. But of course, if we do that too much, there is no growth. Sometimes we need to be in unbalance to grow. And since we have this full moon at the critical degree of Libra, it's quite possible that you actually feel that unbalance in your life and what to do about it. So quite an interesting full moon again. And one day later, on the 20th, the Sun moves into Earth sign Taurus, joining Uranus in Taurus on the 22nd, highlighting again that theme of Uranus in Taurus, what I said before. Then on the 24th, we have the next planet going retrograde, Pluto. Now, Pluto turns retrograde for about 6 months, so quite long, 4 October to be exact, and then it goes direct again. And also on the 30th of the month, the last day of the month, we have Saturn going retrograde. And then we have 3 of these outer planets going retrograde, Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto. And also Saturn retrogrades for quite a long period, until the 18th of September. And the impact of Mercury retrograde is always quite tangible in our lives, in our consciousness, in our actions, and also circumstances. When the outer planets, and outer planets means that those other planets are further away, much further away than Mercury, Venus, and Mars, for instance. When they turn retrograde, their impact is more subtle. It's more of an integrating energy. It's like the catching our breath, like I said before. And everything that we have overdone, we can then integrate. So April is quite an intense month. And we move away from this dreamy world of Pisces, of not knowing, and getting back into actions. There are things that need to be done, so go out and do them. And I hope this video serves you in navigating these energies quite effectively and consciously. Also on my website you can find a free astrological launching calendar, and this is quite a powerful tool to help you promote your projects, your products if you're an entrepreneur, and so navigating again your life. There are specific periods in the month that are very good to go out and do things, and other periods in the month and in the year to turn more inwards. And I've created this astrological launching calendar especially for you. You can download it for free from my website, and I'll put down a link below. I wish you a great month of April and love to see you back in May. Bye.